Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Aries energy. And for this round, we're going to do another 10 card spread. We have 3 cards not showing themselves. That's interesting. Anyway, we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because everyone can harness their Aries energy different because life's about learning lessons and tempering our more egoic nature of fear, insecurity, pride, ego, laziness, self-centeredness, self-indulgence, to be enlightened to the truth that it's about love. If we want to work together with other people, love is to be just and fair. And we're supposed to treat other people the way we like to be treated. We're supposed to be just and fair. And some people haven't realized that yet. And so they're going to harness these energies differently. Aries is fire sign energy. Probably the first 30, 40 years of people's life, they're pretty fired up about the world and themselves and all these things they want to go indulge in and manifest. And there can always be more mature people, needless when we're young also, but and some might be a little bit more tipped in favor of justice and fairness and love, and some are a little more tipped in favor of themselves and things of the world and their ego or defensiveness, and we just need to see the truth of it. Because the truth sets us free. We can either invest our time, energy, and effort into people who seem that their truth is different and what motivates and inspires them is different, or we kind of look for people who are maybe more on the same page as us and have learned some of the same life lessons we've learned. So I look at this card as the overarching reason for the reading. It's a 3 of Swords. It kind of represents Libra energy, where kind of about what we think is just and fair. And we can all struggle between our mind, is what the swords talk about. Libra is air sign energy, and our more intuitive, creative, loving nature, which is what the heart represents. And we can all struggle with that, but some people are more balanced than some other people. Some people are still letting tipped out of balance in their loving nature in a way where they kind of indulge people in poor behavior. Other people could live more from their mind than their heart. They're not going to do love. They get hurt doing love. Got to be practical and logical. And so they're kind of tipped out of balance and kind of just looking for people who just are at the same place we are. What we think is just and fair. So we start out with 3 cards not showing itself, which can be that for people that have learned some lessons in life, they learned that they needed to quit aligning with these energies in a more shadowy way. Even though it could have been difficult with the 3 of Swords, and it could have had us up in our head for a bit in the 8 of Swords, but the difference between the 8 and the 3 is the 5 of Swords, which is Aquarius energy of I have a dream. And if I've worked through some of these issues to be free of them, and I'm moving forward in the Chariot, kind of got in the driver's seat of my own life, making better decisions in my life, have gotten myself more emotionally balanced, and my truth is love, because the Chariot is Cancer energy, which is about love of self, love of others. But again, everybody is supposed to invest in maintaining balance within themselves between their high vibe nature and their more worldly shadowy nature. That if I want justice and fairness and balance, I need to get balance within myself from a place of love. If I want to move forward with people who are motivated and inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness, I need to invest in people who are like that, right? And I authentically need to be that type of person. But some people could have the idea that I can go invest in people who are like that, but I don't really have to be that type of person. Well, that ends up causing problems in a relationship, because high vibe energy is being more independent of your shadow nature and your defensive and your egoic nature, and you're authentic. Otherwise, you're trying to create an illusion that you're something you're not. And eventually, the high vibe people probably realize the fact that there's still some things that manipulate some other people that they really are still in a mental prison about. That they still have that mental conflict, but instead of dealing with that conflict, that's what the Five of Swords can be. I'm just going to go get a different job, a different friend, a different relationship. But they've really never worked through seeing the truth and dealt with those things to be free of them, right? So they kind of bring it to the next relationship they're in or the next job, and getting a new friendship, a new relationship, a new job, those people could offer people a new emotional beginning to work together with them. The only thing is, the high vibe people in Scorpio energy are more tipped in favor of truth and love and justice and fairness, and they want more deep, meaningful relationships. And some of the other people just thought they could come, and the Seven of Cups can be trying to emotionally confuse people about the truth of who they are. And eventually, the high vibe people wish them peace and love, but they call judgment on them. I don't want to move forward in an illusion. I want to move forward in truth and love and justice and fairness. And so, if there is some people in the world right now who thought they could create an illusion or will go try to create an illusion with someone, the high vibe people have already been through some life experiences to learn these types of lessons. And they're not as tempted by things of the world because they got out of being in their more worldly view of life. They're maybe more connected in with their more emotional nature, their intuitive nature, their creative, inspired nature. And their intuition could be, I can offer people love and encouragement, but if they still have mental conflict about the truth, they still maybe have some inner conflict they haven't dealt with, and they're coming to try to be in a relationship with me, but my intuition tells me that it's kind of like people looking to other people to be the answer to their problems. Some people, their vice to feel better is drugs or alcohol or sex or gambling or whatever. Other people's is to get in relationships. Well, I can be an encouraging, supportive person in your life, but if my intuition tells me that you're still more making decisions out of fear, insecurity, pride, ego, lust, greed, codependency, looking for someone else to be the answer to your problems, I've probably already been in a relationship with someone who's like that. And eventually, the things that they didn't want to deal with get them up in their head again anyway. And then they could think and be heartbroken that their problems didn't go away and they were looking to me to be the answer to their problems. And I'm not. All I can do is provide a loving and encouraging, supportive environment. You have to do that work within yourself. But for some people, they're like, no, 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 that's not my truth. Because before the Three of Swords is the Two of Swords, where I could feel stuck. And then some people think like, oh, I have an idea. I'll go do this. And they think that is going to be the answer to their problems, but it's not. And then when they have the same issues they had in the last job, friendship, relationship, either they think, oh, well, these people must not be the problem. I need to call judgment on this. I was kind of caught up in the illusion thinking they were the answer to my problems, but it must not be them. It must be someone else. I need to go get in a relationship with someone else. But they're just not dealing with the underlying issue. For other people who kind of have that way of viewing life, some of the people that they go think will be the answer to their problems want them to be more just and fair and balanced and authentic and loving, but that's kind of not the truth of who they are. And then they call judgment on them. And then they're heartbroken that those people kind of chose to hold people accountable for their actions. Well, I didn't think you'd hold me accountable for my actions. I thought because maybe you're a loving, encouraging person, I could move forward with you, and you would never, because you're maybe more aligned with your loving nature and you're a loving person, I never thought you would kind of stand up for yourself. And from the 1 to the 7 of Cups is the 6 of Cups. The 6 of Cups can be where we're exchanging with people in a relationship. I never thought you would work through your own fears and insecurities or self-limiting beliefs or codependent nature, or realize how you're kind of tipped out of balance where you indulge loving people. I never thought you would work through that to get more balance within yourself, to stand up. I kind of view the 7s as kind of being tipped in favor of one way or the other. And like, I'm willing to quit investing in you if you don't seem to work with me more cooperatively. You know, you might have things of the world that I could want. You know, maybe the Ace of Pentacles could represent, in Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn earth sign energy, that there can be a lot of traits, characteristics, stability, security. If it's a job, they have the necessary education or something, or skills that would make people think, you know, we could work together. But then as they do work together, if people aren't willing to hold themselves accountable for their actions, and they still only want to offer those things of the world, and other people are offering love, you know, people who are more balanced within themselves, I want a mix of both. Do I want people to be practical and grounded and put in work and effort and have some stability and security in my life? Yes. But I also equally value love and justice and fairness and authenticity, and where people really are putting in work and effort and they hold themselves accountable. And when people have to be held accountable in the Judgment card, could be when some people decide, I'm not going to keep investing in this. You can go, and I'm going to go find something else to invest in, because if this requires me to be held accountable for my actions, I don't want to do that. Because in the 5 of Swords, between the 8 and the 3, you kind of have to work through the fact that maybe you do try to manipulate people in workplaces and relationships. Maybe you do have mental conflict that you don't ever want to deal with, but it kind of affects, you know, the decisions that people invest in, how they work together with other people, because they have this mental conflict, whatever that mental conflict could be. We're going to talk about it in a minute. It affects how they interact with people and the choices that they make in their life. And some people don't ever want to be held accountable for their actions. The 5 of Swords in Aquarius energy, also represented by the Star card. Some people are kind of a little full of themselves, and some people aren't seeing things clearly. They could be used to people kind of indulging in them in their poor behavior, and they thought you were just going to be someone else who is going to indulge them in their poor behavior. And it's like, oh, sorry, not me. I mean, I could have love for you. I could like traits and characteristics about you. If I'm an employer, I like your education or your background. But if we're not going to work together and be more where it is really about being just and fair and everybody holding themselves accountable to operate more from listening to love and intuition and justice to fairness to guide their decisions versus their fear or their insecurity or their pride or their ego or their defensive nature, this isn't going to work. And so, you know, we can always have some people in our life that are moving forward with us in this more high vibrational energy. We both, everybody in the group or whatever, or the family, realizes I need to, it's not just about me, because that can be shadowy energy, and shadowy Aries, because Aries energy is about the self. It's not just supposed to be about me. If I want to move forward with people and they hold themselves to a standard, why should I expect that I shouldn't have to hold myself to a standard? But for some people, it is choosing love. And for some people, that's not their truth. I don't really want to do love. That's not my truth. I do like to live more from my mind than my heart. I am more about these things of the world. I do have these ways of viewing life, and it's not love. And so that's why some of those people aren't going to move forward, and why other people do move forward together. And of course, on the flip side, there's going to be people that are more shadowy, are more worldly than the Chariot, can talk about that it is more about status and ego and image and how you look. And it's more about this illusion we create in the world. Look how victorious and successful I am. Look who I hang out with. Look who wants to be friends with me or be in a relationship with me. Everybody should view me like I've gotten justice in the world, that someone loves me, or someone, I look victorious and successful in the world, right? But it could be driven more by ego, and all of those people could be more caught up in the illusion, and they create this illusion with each other. And shadowy kind of Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Cancer, Scorpio, and Earth sign energy is that it is more important to create this illusion that I have a certain status or image, or I find someone who's caught up in the illusion of me and they buy into viewing me a certain way, even though I'm not that. One day they might, and I'm always up in a mental prison that one day they're going to see through the illusion that it really isn't, I'm really not who I say I am. I'm really not motivated to put in work and effort. I'm really not motivated and inspired by love. I could have gotten into this just because I'm in a mental prison, just to help me deal with my mental conflict, because I was hurt, because I am more about me or my image. And so long as they can find other people that are on the same page as them, and those people think that way, people are going to invest in other people for their own reasons. And sometimes people get in more mismatched relationships, and we can come into contact with other people to help us get more clear about what our truth was, because to close out a cycle, we have to get to the 10. And we were kind of talking about how the before the 3 of Swords is the 2 of Swords. Sometimes we thought, we make a decision. That's to get to the 3 of Swords, we have to make a decision. And sometimes we're just hoping for the best and we have no idea what's going to happen. And we can only take responsibility for ourselves. We have no idea, we're going to be dealing with other people. We have no idea. Some of those people are creating an illusion. Some of those people are who they say they are. And we start to move forward in things, and then we could realize, ooh, wait a minute. I don't think we're on the same page. I don't think that you are maybe who you say you are. And I got caught up in the illusion, right? So let's see if we can put this all together here eventually, but we're going to look at what these cards are here. We have the Ace of Wands, the Death card, the 6 of Cups, and the 6 of Swords. So here we kind of mentioned the 5 of Swords. The 5, the 6, and the 7 of Swords are all Aquarius energy, which has to do with I had a dream. We all could have gotten in a relationship because something else that we had invested in ended in the past. We want to be in new jobs, new friendships, new relationships, so we could be moving forward with some people. Some people kind of did work through accepting the truth that something in the past was over, and they did let go of that dream. And, because if something ended, our dream can only come into reality with people who are willing to work together with us. And maybe we weren't on the same page. Maybe we all had some issues to work through. We could have had different viewpoints, right? So initially, people can move forward in new things. They can be a little bit in a mental prison about being hurt again, right? But the high vibe people offer truth and love to the people they're in relationship with, treat them in a just and fair way. To, that's kind of like the best thing you can offer to a relationship, right? That I am going to offer truth and love. I have no idea. Everybody's got their free will, everybody's got their issues to work through. I'm going to offer them truth and love to move forward with me. There's obviously some things that I found, maybe there's a lot of different things that we enjoy or love, with Cancer being about love and home and family. There could be someone who, needless, hopefully we would have viewed as emotionally stable and balanced and loving, and we go invest in them. And if those people in turn, and we could, during the process of getting to know each other, we work through some of our fears, our insecurities, our fear of being hurt again, maybe talk about why some other relationships didn't work out, how we had expected things to move forward, how other people expected things to move forward. And if those people that some people could currently beginning this process with, or people that they're currently moving forward with, if those people are willing to, because in High Vibe, the Pentacles offering truth and love. I am a worldly human being in my earth sign energy, but I am motivated and inspired by truth and love. And I'm looking for someone else, and that is balance. I have my worldly nature, you have your worldly nature. If we're both kind of more motivated and inspired by love, we're tipped more in favor of giving that precedence in our life. Do we all put work and effort to have stability and some security in our life? Yes, but it's not the end all be all. It's more about love and intuition and being in jobs that we enjoy, career fields that we enjoy, being in relationships and friendships with people who are more authentic and balanced and loving and authentic versus more superficial and shallow. Because the Seven of Cups is Scorpio energy, and in shadow it can be more superficial, for more superficial and shallow reasons. But I really want to be in more deep, meaningful relationships. If those people are on that same page and everyone is willing to hold themselves accountable, to let go of the past, let go of being maybe more about themselves, or, well, this is how I worked with other people in the past, or this is how I like to work with people. I don't want, that's how I want to keep moving forward. It's like, well, everybody has their ideas, everybody has their patterns, everybody has the things that they enjoy. It's about working together. You could look at the Seven of Cups as that you have your Three of Cups, your emotional foundation that you like to operate from. I have my Three of Cups, my emotional, which both the Three of Cups is Cancer energy. I have things and people in my life and things I enjoy doing and that I love, and I have my ways of growing up. I had my dreams. You had yours. But are we willing to offer a cup of love to it? And the Six of Cups can be that we were doing that work together to get to know each other. Then are we ready to move forward and give birth to this new thing? But the driving factor for it is more hope and faith and belief in truth and love and justice and fairness versus people in our past who might have thought, well, that's not my dream. I have my ways of operating in the world, and I'm kind of fearful of giving birth maybe to anything new. I have mental conflict about that. I think my way of viewing life and how I think we should do things is just and fair, and you should think it's just and fair too. But then it's just a little bit more about them, right? and their dream and what they think is just and fair. And they could, in the death card, which is also Scorpio energy, not really want to give birth to anything new. And that's what the Six of Cups, which is also Scorpio energy, which Scorpio is fixed sign energy. So we can all have ways of living life, viewing life, and we kind of have a hard time transitioning out of a certain way of living life and viewing life. And the Six of Cups can be that we like to stay in our comfort zone. And they don't want to invest in moving forward in life differently. I have fear of doing that. I think we should move forward in this old way, or the way I view it, that I think is just and fair. And because you love me, you should kind of decide to give up on your dreams of what you could have given birth to if you did work together with someone who worked with you more cooperatively in a just and fair way, where, your way of some of the things you would like to go do. But that's what it is to work together with other people. It's not just kind of more my way. And there's some people that is their truth. I'm inspired to not give any birth to anything new. I don't want to look at life differently. I don't have a different dream. This is my dream. Let's do this. But some of those people aren't in their life anymore. And they might have grown up a certain way, but again, it could have been their comfort zone is to be in relationship with people who have kind of given up their dreams, who get in relationships to be in relationships. It looks victorious and successful. That's the most important thing. It's more emotionally shallow and superficial. This is why people get in relationships, and that's how some people view life and view relationships. Aren't we looking to get in certain jobs and friendships? So, and if we get along well enough and, but some people's are, well, I want to be shadowy and be in a relationship with a loving, nurturing, supportive person. That's my idea of the dream relationship. But I am never going to become that type of person. But maybe I do have more of these things of the world, and I think those things are more important, and I don't look at life from a higher perspective in High Vibe Aquarius. I could be a little bit more about me in the world, and I think it's more about looking like a shining star in the world. And if you want to look like a shining star in the world, and I might have what appears to be justice in the world, like I look like I'm moving forward victoriously and successfully, well, I guess if you want those things, then you should kind of emotionally indulge me in my more immature, shadowy, defensive, fearful, manipulative, full of myself, materialistic, unbudging way of being. And some high vibe people are like, I've come to see the truth. My dream isn't going to come into reality. I could have been offering you love and encouragement, but you're not kind of inspired to change. The death card is about transformation, where you kind of work through an old situation or old issues to work through them, to work through your fears and your insecurities and your mental conflict, because high vibe energy is about loving yourself enough to believe in yourself and believe in your dreams and believe in love, that you see the truth about different people in your life, that some of those people were bossy, we're controlling, we're unjust, we're unfair, we're more caught up in this or this or this, and I just see the truth of it. Not everyone is that way. And I have to take the lessons I've learned from these different types of people I've been in a relationship with. And some of those relationships I moved away from. Why did I move away from them? Were they hurtful, unkind, wanted me to kind of liked me being imprisoned, liked me being in fear and insecurity and emotional confusion? Well, someone who loves me shouldn't want me in a mental prison and shouldn't want me more in fear and insecurity. That would be someone who's trying to manipulate me. if I meet people in my future who act that way, I've already learned I don't like being in a relationship with people like that. And maybe this whole journey in life that I've been through so far has been helping me learn to love myself, so that when I get in a situation like that where I feel like people seem to be repeating some poor past patterns of ways of behaving that I don't like, I'm not willing to give up my dreams. I offer truth and love and encouragement, but then I have to deal with the truth, and I can't stay stuck anymore in the Two of Swords. So I wish them peace and love, and I invest in getting balance within myself to love and believe in myself. I have a dream. If that's not your truth, and I come to find out that's not your truth, then I wish you peace. And I've learned through this experience to love myself, maybe get out of some more codependent energy and learn how to give myself the things that I wish other people would have given me. But I'm no longer willing to. I can be a very loving, giving person, and it kind of like people who are loving and encouraging and supportive, it's like they kind of have a never ending cup of it, because it's just the foundation they kind of build their life in. But it gets depleting in the sense that I would like to be in a relationship with other people who in turn treat me that way. And some of the people in my life don't, and that isn't the truth of the foundation they operate from. And sometimes, though, what this brings up for me is you can be a loving, giving, nurturing person, but we'll all repeat certain patterns, and it's kind of our comfort zone. And you can be a loving, nurturing person whose comfort zone is to be in relationship with people who are looking for people to love and nurture them, and then you play that role in their life. But eventually, as you keep repeating that pattern over and over, and there could have been some people that kind of moved away from you that really were more on the same page as you, or you were more on the same page as them, but because of repeating this pattern, and it's kind of like, no, I'm kind of inspired with people who don't work together with me in a more balanced way. I'm kind of motivated and inspired to try to get them to work together with me in a more balanced way and loving way. But how long are we going to do that? And our dream keeps not coming into reality because we're basically getting in relationships with people, but that's how we're used to being, and that's like our comfort zone. And we could reject more loving, balanced people because it's like, this is different. So you're not going to try to do all these things to try to have me in a mental prison and kind of heartbroken. I'm kind of used to being in relationships with people who do that, and this is different. And then we can all have fear of believing we even deserve it. We can be a loving person, but we kind of call judgment on other people who want to love us. It's like, oh, no, no, no. No, I love people that are like this. Well, it's like, why don't you get in relationships with people who are more loving and nurturing and supportive? And sometimes, Aries energy, also represented by the Fool card, we've got to go on these journeys in life to kind of go through these life experiences, because there could be some truth we don't want to see the truth of. And sometimes it can be that I'm motivated and inspired by love, but I don't really let people love me. Because of maybe some issues in my past where people didn't work with me more cooperatively. It's kind of a weird way of looking at it, and I never looked at it this way until after I started to do tarot. But it kind of can be where it's kind of a thing from our ego, where that we're still kind of up in our head and heartbroken about people in our life who didn't work with us more cooperatively. And we couldn't understand maybe why, if that's friends, family, siblings, early life experiences. And so it was always to try and we were always trying then maybe to get more justice and fairness and balance, and make it more balanced or loving, you know? And so we could have been the one putting in that work and effort. Well, then that's kind of a pattern that we have. And then it can kind of be this thing like where we have to work to get someone to love us. Like if someone free willingly wants to love us, it's like, well, I didn't even really put in work and effort to try to get you, you know, kind of like maybe in a way you're not a challenge, right? You don't seem to be in a mental prison. I don't have to try to help you work through all those things. I kind of like to help people work through all those things. And then for some people, that can be a little pride and ego. Like, look at what a loving, nurturing person I am. And I made this person free themselves from things that manipulated them. You know, it can go a lot of different directions. High vibe people are no longer inspired by unloving energy. And they might have had to go through some difficult life experiences to get to that place in their life. If people show me, if I offer people, and I have offered people truth and love and encouragement, and those people choose to be in non-life giving energy, they're not just, they're not fair, they're not hopeful and believing and loving, I don't want to repeat that pattern. And I've let go of that dream. And I don't view life that way anymore. Maybe before at one time that is how I viewed life. And that's what I thought my purpose was in life, you know, because Aquarius energy can be this idea of how you think you shine your light in the world or help other people, right? Is being loving and treating people in a just and fair way, an encouraging way, the highest kind of energy to be in, yes, but it is supposed to be just and fair. And I could have jumped in relationships before I knew what their truth was, what drove and motivated them, and then I ended up in more mismatched relationships. But, you know, there's no guarantee in life when people are going to kind of drift off into the ditch in their more worldly nature, being tempted by things. You know, and people can also just get kind of spoiled and feel like they're entitled to be treated a certain way because again they kind of think that sometimes people are being loving and nurturing to them because of like, oh my gosh, people just want to love me, and like maybe someone else would want to love me. You know, and some of those people might find out that they kind of drove their life off into the ditch, right? But for people who have learned some of these lessons in life, they're less caught up in the superficial and shallow, being more about themselves. They're more motivated and inspired by love, and they've learned to love themselves in a healthy, balanced way. They want more healthy, balanced relationship. They don't want to be in a more mismatched relationship, which is kind of more of a codependent relationship. I am ready to be in a more emotionally balanced, just, fair. I have learned that I deserve love also. I deserve to be treated in a just and fair way. Maybe before I didn't. And high vibe people were willing to detach from people in their life that harness these energies in a more shadowy way. In their fire sign energy, they're more inspired to repeat old patterns, being more about themselves, more about the world. Don't look at life from a higher perspective. Don't believe in a higher truth or justice. The world tells us it's about this or it's about them. And that's their truth. It's like, okay, you just need to find people who agree with you. I don't. And I'm going to wish those people peace and love, but I'm going to work through my own mental conflict to get clear about my truth because I found out that isn't it. The people in my life who are currently working with me, that I could reach out to, that I might meet, I'm going to keep having hope and faith and belief in my dreams. I'm going to move away from the people in my life who've already shown me that isn't their truth. Now I've learned maybe more to listen to my intuition, where maybe before I could have taken action more out of pain and heartbreak or fears or insecurities. Not anymore. Now I have learned to maintain balance within myself. I'm going to keep offering people truth and love, listen to my intuition about the different people in my life and people that I meet. Who do I think are some of those people who other people maybe got out of relationships with? Or, and just going to try to present themselves based on what they learned from those people about how to present themselves as a more just and fair and stable and grounded, loving person. But my intuition tells me that's not really the truth of who you are. It's kind of more of a mental construct, And who does my intuition tell me that, like regular fallible human beings, they have their own fears and insecurities and self-learning beliefs, but they're really motivated and inspired by love. Those are the people I'm going to invest my time, energy, and effort into. And that's what high vibe people are doing. They're holding themselves and other people accountable. They have probably offered truth and love to people. If there's some people in their life that aren't wanting to invest in them that way, well, we see the truth of it. Now, some of the people have moved on in their own high vibe relationships, and we could be sad that those people got in relationships with other people. Well, we're not going to let it. Our dream isn't codependent on certain people being in our life. We assume that God knows what really ultimately drives and motivates people and knows what our dreams are and what theirs are, and that if we keep having hope and faith and belief that everything really is trying to work out in our best interest, we just need to keep kind of walking the talk, right? And the people in our life who do work together with us in that way, we keep investing in as we meet new people. And if there's people in our life that we think are kind of more on that same page, where maybe before, there could have been people that were more on the same page, but our judgment was clouded because we kind of were drawn and attracted to certain people because we had our own lessons to learn. And then we could realize, wait a minute, I think some of these people that I got out of friendships or relationships with, or that I didn't even pursue more friendships and relationships with, it might have been more because of my own fears and my own insecurities. And I kind of, now that I think I have learned those lessons, high vibe energy isn't in their ego. They're willing to speak the truth, acknowledge they're a fallible human being who made mistakes, and I've learned these lessons. I just kind of wanted to reach out to let you know I'm sorry if any way I could have acted towards you, or if I got out of more of a friendship or relationship. I'm willing to tell you the truth as to why, and then that I'm moving forward in life differently. I wish you peace, love, and joy this time moving forward. If we can reconnect, if we can become friends or whatever, then great. If not, I've learned to maintain balance within myself in the face of everyone else having their free will. And I'm going to keep staying in that energy with people in my life and people that I meet. And I'm going to listen to my intuition about who seems to be more authentic and telling the truth and being motivated and inspired by love, and who isn't. So, what's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Aries energy that they might not see coming? Oh, another thing that can happen, we can all get in relationships because of certain reasons. We could all have some of our fears and our insecurities or whatever, but during the course of a workplace or a friendship or a relationship, one person could kind of get inspired to work through some of their issues, and some of the other people in our life, they weren't interested in doing that. They were happy with life the way it was. But the thing is, when one person in a dynamic changes, it kind of changes the whole dynamic. And then they could harness their Cancer energy different. And things that used to drive and motivate them maybe don't drive and motivate them as much anymore. And then they could have realized maybe why they invested in certain things and ways of viewing life or whatever. And maybe from here we go the 6 of Cups, adding the 1 cup, and then we're in the 7 of Cups, where again, we could have been repeating a pattern. And you could just kind of look at a pattern as kind of being in a phase of life. And we move forward through that phase of life. Is it just and fair for us to be in that phase of life? Yes, because that's where we were at. That's how we viewed life. But then if one person kind of gets inspired to work through some of their issues, now they're kind of tipped more into maybe aligning with their more hopeful, believing, loving nature, or loving themselves more than they had in the past. And then, you harness your Cancer energy different, kind of what motivates and inspires you and what you want to invest in more emotionally. And then, it's offering love and encouragement to the people you're with to see if they kind of want to work through whatever could manipulate them from kind of the Judgment card could be closing out an old cycle to move forward in life a little differently, right? And some of those people might say, no, I'm good. You can go. And for a lot of people in our life, that's fine. Oops, I got an alarm on my phone. We have brothers, sisters, friends, family, parents. That's great. You go do you, but no, I'm fine living my life the way it is. And with most people, that's fine. Everybody, I was just telling people kind of how I look at life maybe a little differently than I did before. And you might notice that I don't repeat some ways of being or reacting or whatever that I did before. And it might be because, and I might be not hanging out with certain people because, and doing certain things. Just because I kind of got clear about that wasn't my truth and aligned with my truth anymore. At one time it could have been, but I've kind of made peace with some issues within myself, and I'm ready to move forward in life differently. And again, some of the people in our life, it's like, hey, you go. And we say, that's fine. It's more of a problem, though, if it's like a close friend or a romantic relationship or people that we had close relationships with and we really kind of wanted them to move forward with us in this way, and some of them aren't, then that's more challenging and more difficult. And some of those people don't even want to be in a friendship or relationship anymore just because, like, you've changed, and you're not living life the way you used to, or spending your time, energy, and effort, or that's maybe sometimes when you can realize they kind of liked you being in a mental prison and heartbroken, and maybe they like to play that loving role in your life, but then they don't really like it when you love yourself, because then it's not a more imbalanced relationship, and you want to move forward in a more, like, we're kind of on the same page. And they're like, but I like playing that role in people's life. And if you freed yourself from issues that had manipulated you before, well, now I don't know if I want to move forward with you because you're not the same person like you were before. You reconciled yourself with some of these issues from your past, and now you're like a different person. You don't act the same way. You don't respond the same way. You're not motivated and inspired to do certain things that you used to be motivated and inspired to go do, because that isn't something that influences you, which could have even been heartbreak. And maybe before we were willing to move forward with certain people more out of our fear and our insecurity and our heartbreak or things like that. And then it's like, I might still want to move forward with you, but I kind of might want it. It might have felt a little imbalanced before, or it looked like love and talked like love, but now I really want it to be more just and fair and balanced and authentic and loving. And that's too when the other people are like, oh, well, then I'm out of here. If you're not willing to go along with like the illusion and you want like more of the real deal, well, then I guess this is over, you know? And sometimes we can realize that people aren't very loving, but they're moving forward with us because we're loving, or we're more the image or the status, and it's not really love. And then do we really want people and stay in relationship with people who we think are in relationship with us for those other reasons? And it's not really about love. And some people are like, yeah, I'm not willing to do that. So we move forward with the people in our life who work together with us. The people who don't want to invest in us, we wish them peace. They are on their own journey, good or bad. And we stay in an energy of love. We invest in the people in our life who do work together with us in a just and fair way. And we listen to our intuition about who's trying to emotionally manipulate us and confuse us or use our loving nature manipulatively, and who isn't. So what's coming up for the high vibe people? We have the Ace of Wands, the Lovers, and the Empress card. And the reason is because of the King of Swords. So here we have a lot of swords, right? And this can be, I've learned these lessons in the past. I've worked with different people who did love and encourage me to love and believe in myself. I've worked with other people who maybe could have been more superficial and shallow or intimidating and controlling. What is my truth? What about how I'm currently living my life? The people that are presently in my life? Some of the people I got out of relationship with? What is my truth? And high vibe people didn't want to repeat a pattern, so they invested in to offer love to the situation and to the people currently in their life to kind of figure out who's who, and offer love to themselves to work through their own fears and insecurities, to get clear about their truth, because they want to move forward, not repeating these old patterns. And because some people, oh, and that's interesting, the Chariot and the Justice card talks about balance, and Aries and Libra are on opposite signs of the zodiac wheel. And so in our Aries Libra nature of self, sometimes we're kind of going off and learning these lessons, living more from our mind than our heart, being more about ourself, our passionate nature, our loving nature, and, kind of driving our life off into the ditch to realize how much is too much. And then hopefully we learn to get more balance between our Aries and our Libra nature. Do I want these certain things of the world and things that I think are just and fair? But am I, or people I'm in relationship, more about themselves? What about love? What about my truth? What about my dreams? I can be in things that look good, look stable, but is it what I really love? Is it what inspires me? Are people loving and inspiring? Am I being hard on myself? Am I in relationships with people who are kind of controlling or emotionally cold? Have I been more emotionally cold and not listening to my intuition? Working through all of that, you wanted to get to the truth. And because you were wanting to get to the truth, where before you might not have been wanting to take some inspired action or to even get more balance within yourself or love yourself, because of some life situation you were in, it kind of forced you to get to the truth of, get clear about your truth, what your dreams are, what you think is just and fair, what other people think is just and fair, and maybe willing to stand up for yourself, to speak your truth, because for some people that was a problem, and to stand up for what you think is just and fair, because for other people that was a problem. And all of that forced then allowed you to be more inspired by love and to give birth to something new. The Empress talks about how we think and feel, and it's Libra Taurus energy, that I want justice, fairness, character, integrity, authenticity, love. And I could know people who act like that, look like that, are of those zodiac signs, but I want people, regardless of what zodiac sign they are, to really be that type of person. There's people in the world that harness all the zodiac sign traits and characteristics in a shadowy way. And all the people that have come in contact with them and moved on from them, they are the ones who harness that zodiac sign in a more high vibe way. Because the other people keep choosing to harness it in a more high vibe way. Or they keep choosing it to harness it in a more low vibe way. That you are just and fair and balanced, and you are inspired by truth and love and justice and fairness and acting with character and integrity, and the people you want to be in relationship with, and presently probably some of the people in your life, that is the truth of who they are, and that is the type of people you're going to stand up and defend, and you're going to stand up and defend that nature within yourself. And because of that, some people in your life are going to call judgment on you. Nope, I'm not going to do that. Shit, I thought I could manipulate you. I thought I could control you. I thought you wouldn't see through the illusion that I present myself as a certain type of person. I thought you were buying into the illusion before. It's like, not anymore. When I offered truth and love and justice and fairness and to work together with you cooperatively in a just and fair and loving way, you chose to hide that you were kind of about something else or yourself. And I saw the truth of it, and I called judgment on it. And I'm not going to be in a mental prison and heartbroken about it. I might for a while, but I'm going to work through it and see everybody has free will to choose how they want to act. And if that's not their truth, then my dream couldn't come into reality with them anyway, until they maybe grow up and mature themselves, get balanced within themselves. And I'm not going to keep indulging them in their poor behavior. So the judgment is some decisions are being made in Aries energy. Some people are going to keep choosing the illusion or themselves, and other people are going to stand up to get the justice they deserve in truth and love. What's coming up for some people who might harness a more worldly, shadowy Aries energy that they might... Oh, and so as something you don't see coming, for one, your work is going to pay off in your own life, feeling balanced and stable and loving and all of that within yourself. And as you keep being in that energy and quit investing in people who aren't in that type of energy, it frees you up to invest in people who are more on the same page as you. And as you move forward in that energy, taking action to move forward more with people who are more on the same page as you in workplaces, friendship, and relationship, then you're kind of more hanging around with some like-minded people that are just and fair, who are authentic and loving and walk the talk, and you're able to give birth to something new. The other people are going to keep repeating a pattern because the truth sets us free. We have to work through our fears, our insecurity, our pride, our ego, our defensiveness, our entitled nature, being caught up more in the world, to authentically move forward in life differently, not repeating that old pattern of way of being. And some people aren't ready to do that yet, so they're going to keep repeating an old pattern, doing what they do, thinking it'll work out the way they want it to, but I'm not sure if it will. I mean, if they want to be more superficial and shallow, if they find someone who's more superficial and shallow, well, then that is a just and fair outcome. What's unjust and unfair is someone to harness these shadowy traits and characteristics, try to get someone who's more hopeful and believing and loving trapped in a heartbreaking situation. And high vibe people eventually listen to their intuition and get themselves out of it. And if they keep trying to do that, they'll probably keep having judgment called on them. Quit trying to present yourself as something you're not. and go get in relationships with people who are on the same page as you. What's coming up for them? The Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Why? Because of the Five of Wands. Because the shadowy people have inner conflict, the Queen of Pentacles can talk about emotionally growing and maturing themselves. For other people, they want to indulge themselves in relationships, but they might not want to put in work and effort. They want to have people indulge them in a relationship where they don't have to change, be more inspired to emotionally grow and mature themselves, or work through these issues that kind of make them repeat some old patterns. And they probably have some people in their life who have been trying to offer them love and encouragement to kind of quit emotionally investing in their more worldly viewpoint of life, to be more inspired, to have some more hope and faith and belief in themselves and in their dreams and in love, to put in work and effort towards those things. But since the shadowy people are like, no, 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 I have fear about doing that. What if I move forward in life differently and it doesn't work out? Well, we learn lessons from it. That's the whole thing. We learn the lesson we were meant to learn from that, and then we move forward again. How many times did it take to make the light bulb? I think I heard somebody say like 1,000 times. It's like, well, thank goodness they didn't give up on light bulbs. I'm glad we have light bulbs, right? Because some people don't want to more emotionally invest in a relationship. You know, you either are more authentically investing in a relationship because in your fire sign energy, you're inspired by love. Other people want to hide that they really don't want to be in deep, meaningful relationships, that they just want to move forward in it in shadowy fire sign energy, where it's just like indulging in it, like sexually, and for all the other perks and benefits they get. But they don't really want to emotionally invest in love. They have inner conflict about that. And until they work through their inner conflict about it, they're going to keep doing what they do. And some of those people will never choose to work through it. So long as it looks victorious and successful in the world, I'm good. I don't even want to do a more deep, meaningful relationship. The truth might be that I like to live more from my mind than my heart. And that is like a defensive King of Swords energy, male or female. And other high-vibe people saw the truth of it. They're so defensive, either defending this more egoic, materialistic, it should be more about me and I should be the privileged, pampered person in a relationship, male or female, or I'm very defensive and I'm not doing love. I get hurt doing that. Other people in their life eventually have inner conflict about continuing to invest in them, and they're going to quit emotionally investing in them. And they're going to call judgment on them. How long can I keep staying in denial of the truth? Apparently, this is not your truth. And I've done this work within myself to figure out why I would keep staying in it. And I've worked through it, and I'm ready to move forward in life differently. And it's kind of, you know, when does Judgment Day come? Some people think it will never come. Well, the loving, encouraging people at work keep offering me love and encouragement. The loving and encouraging people in my life keep offering me love and encouragement because they're loving and encouraging people. I think they'll keep doing it. And eventually people could have hoped that they would change. The fives talk about change. And they realize they never do. And that's when they're kind of enlightened to the truth. You're either authentically more inspired to work together with people in a more authentic, just, fair, and loving way, or you're not. And then they realize the only person they can change is themselves, and they do. And they realize, I'm not going to keep investing in this. I wish you peace. I hope it works out for you, but I've decided not to keep exchanging resources with you. And I'm moving on with the people in the world who I do think are more inspired by truth and love. And then the more shadowy people are kind of in a mental prison. But again, because they don't probably want to deal with the truth, they could just decide, well, I'll just go get a different job. I'll go get in a different relationship. It'll make it look like I've moved on, like I've changed, like I've grown, like I've healed, like I'm more emotionally balanced and stable now. But they're not. They're the exact same person going into the new relationship. They might have learned some things from some people in their life to try to present themselves as a more emotionally stable, balanced, just, fair, loving person, but it's still not the truth of who they are. That is still not their dream. They still are defensive to that dream. They really want to repeat because we have to keep repeating an old pattern to learn the lesson we were meant to learn. That's when we can really authentically move forward in life differently. And so they're going to keep repeating an old pattern, unbeknownst to some of the people they get in a relationship with, because those people could be caught up in the illusion of who they are, have hope and faith, think if they offer love and encouragement, and eventually those people will see the truth. And for the people who never want to see the truth, never want to change, eventually they'll probably end up in a relationship with someone like themselves who also has inner conflict about putting in work and effort and walking the talk and emotionally growing and maturing themselves, who is more about manipulating people, using their emotions, their sexuality, their looks, their charm to try to manipulate people. But if by worldly standards it looks good, and because the Chariot card can look like people are moving forward victoriously and successfully, they might stay in it, even though they could not like that job, could not like those people. The other people aren't really emotionally investing in them. They're not really emotionally invested in it, but it looks good. And if that's the most important thing, then as long as it looks good, that could be the most important thing. We'll keep maintaining this illusion. And the thing is, we all have free will to manifest whatever type of life we want. And for some people, they could feel like they hit the jackpot. Oh my gosh, I have found someone who has inner conflict also about loving and believing in themselves or living their more authentic life. Wonderful. You're more kind of caught up in the competition and these things of the world or the ego or the image or these things that we like to indulge in. Oh my God, that's great. I love you. And, some people, high vibe energy is about just like we did when we were young, 15, 18, 21, where we worked through our fears and insecurities to shed an old layer of ourselves, to face our fears, to give birth to a new us, like grow to our full potential. Some people have no interest in growing to their full potential. I want to live my life like this. This is my comfort zone. And again, we can all know people like that in our life, and it's fine. You knock your socks off, man. Live your life the way you want to live it, And it doesn't matter. All different strokes for different folks in the people. It takes all kinds of people in the world. But some people are kind of more motivated to not just repeat old patterns. I want to live my more authentic truth. I don't want to just do the status quo. I just don't want to make my life where I feel like I had my own unique talent, skills, and interest that I wanted to invest in and kind of feel like I put in work and effort to feel like I use those unique talent, skills, and interests to kind of grow them to their full potential. And then some people are just motivated and inspired to learn lessons. They're curious about life, fire sign energy. I want to understand and learn all these things and grow and heal and mature myself. And I want to keep shedding old layers of myself. I don't want to let my fear and my past pain and heartbreak and all those things keep me imprisoned. I want to get to where I am free of those things and where I'm really living my more authentic truth from, and just investing my time, energy, and effort into things and people that I really enjoy and love. And other people could be like, no, I'm not interested in doing that. I have inner conflict about that. You have to be bold and brave enough to give birth to something new, and other people aren't, and they want to keep repeating an old pattern, which could be even a pattern they don't like. It's like conforming to the world. Oh, what? I'm supposed to work here. Oh, what? I'm supposed to marry this kind of person. Oh, what? I'm supposed to do this on Friday and Saturday. Oh, what? And they could not even like it at all. But you have to be inspired to not settle for the illusion. Where is my creative spark to live my more authentic life? But some people aren't willing to do that. Nope. What would people say? I can't live my authentic life. I can't live my authentic truth, even if it's from love. And other people are like, well, if you want to make your life about the illusion, and that's what's most important, I'm going to let you do it with someone else, and I'm going to stand up for what I love and believe in, and just enjoy a more authentic life, if nothing else. And not having people trying to stop me from believing in myself and believing in my dreams, and be maybe hurtful and unkind because they have fear of me healing and growing and maturing myself and stepping out of their comfort zone. I'm just going to go step out of your comfort zone and my comfort zone, and I'm going to go give birth to something new to get the justice I deserve. So there you go, Aries. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.